Hello everyone, I am Surrendal the Awesome, and I'm back, and I'm ready to look at some more r/entitled parents. But before I get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if I can't convince you, perhaps this picture of my cat will convince you. Without further ado, let's get to this. So this first post here says, I am apparently a horrible guest for noticing that my father is tired. And this person here says, a little bit of context. I live abroad with my husband due to the Rona and my family being vulnerable. I haven't been home to visit for almost 3 years. My father and I have had a bit of a rocky past, but we've been growing closer over the past year while speaking through Skype. This Easter, we finally got to visit and it was a lovely time. I was so excited to finally be home again. My husband got a little drunk one night, but beyond needing to use the bathroom a little bit, nobody really noticed. Last night, my father had fallen asleep in front of the TV. It happens. I turned down the volume, and as I usually did when I was a teenager, and then went about my life. A little bit later, he wakes up and decided to say hello. He admitted that he nodded off, to which I pointed out that he had actually been asleep for about half an hour, and maybe this was the body's way of saying it's time for bed. Context, it was almost midnight, and my father was recently diagnosed with yet another health issue, and struggles to sleep, so from my point of view, getting a good night's sleep is the body's natural tired, and, it's healthy for him. And he doesn't say anything at the time, so I just go about my evening. Half an hour later, while my husband is in the shower, and I'm alone, he shows up angry and requests to talk. The talk essentially encompasses, How dare you yell at me in my own home? I never raised my voice, and my mother was nearby and never heard anything. When I just ignored this, I'm used to his drunken ramblings, and I'm mainly in shock because I can't understand how he took offense to me making a lighthearted comment. He goes on about detailing about how horrible and disrespectful guests we are, and how my husband is an absolute crap-faced the other night. Yes, he drank too much, but then he just retreated and looked after himself. When I'm still trying my best not to react to this, he goes on to say, my husband will go on to be a horrible alcoholic worse than himself. Oh, okay, that's not very nice. And OP goes on to say, at this point, I leave, and my husband has only ever treated me with kindness and respect, in contrast to my currently drunk father yelling at me. My father's comments that he's disappointed in the outcome of our conversation, and I say I couldn't agree more as I walk away. Cue crying and hiding in my old childhood bedroom after some discussion with my husband and my mother. She knows he's a horrible drunk. I decide to book a room for my husband in a hotel for the remaining nights. So I'm right now hiding in the basement, bags packed, trying to figure out what to do with my day before we can even check in. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 50 out of 50. This is just sad. I feel sorry that you're in this situation, OP. This next post here says, my son's booboo is far more important than this man's heart attack. And this person here says, it was another wondrous day in the emergency room. People running wild, trying to keep up, frantic health employees talking over each other. The emergency room was a mixture of very severe patients in risk of dying, for real. Patients who don't really have that much of an emergency, but just like coming here for whatever reason, and everything in between. We had a 23-year-old man who dislocated his index finger, in this medical term I'm not even going to try to pronounce, in a sporting competition, and he was accompanied by his dad, the main antagonist of our story. We attended the son, and since we were in an expensive private hospital, we called an orthopedist to come and fix his finger. Meanwhile, the lad was given some Catarolic to help with the pain, while we waited a few minutes for his specialist to arrive. As if on cue, a man comes in with chest pain. In the emergency department, we have to treat every chest pain as if though it could maybe be a heart attack. So we begin investigations. We had to finish taking a brief history, and we were setting up the electrodes to take the EKG. When entitled dad walks up to us and says, Hey, my son is in a lot of pain. You can't just ignore him like this. Me, sir, your son has been given medication to aid with the pain. We cannot just do more for him while this person here has a chest pain and maybe, possibly a heart attack. The specialist is on the way to get his finger fixed. ED,
I know that, but you must do something. You can't leave him like that.
The chief of ER. Sir, we have a more urgent case right here. Your son is perfectly fine, and nobody but the orthopedist can fix his finger as per hospital rules. That is, of course, unless you would like for someone who is not specialized in fixing his fingers to put his finger back into place, and, there's the risk of that not going back correctly. Would you like that? ED.
Well, no, but...
The chief of ER. Wonderful! Now please, give us some space. We are trying to work here. ED huffed and puffed his way back to the ortho procedures room with his son. You might think walking into a room with 3 doctors setting up for an EKG machine on a patient with an I'm in pain face would give the man a clue that priorities are priorities, but no, his son has way too many precious fingers to have his boo-boo sidelined for a man with chest pain. In case you're wondering, it all had a happy ending. The man with chest pain did not have a heart attack. The 23-year-old got his finger fixed and will be competition ready in no time. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 50 out of 50. Dude, please, let the ER people do their job, okay? And also, they have to pick it based off of who is most at risk at dying. Having a boo-boo is not really as bad as, possibly having a heart attack. This next post here says, I wonder if that girl who's chatting with that boy very fondly would be interested in dating with my son. And this person here says, before I start, please forgive me for my grammar. English isn't my first language. Alright, so this happened to 2 of my friends who are a couple. They were in a restaurant waiting for their food whilst chatting when the entitled loser dad decides to chime in. Cast B for boy, G for girl, ELD for entitled loser dad. Although I'm just going to call him ED because that's easier. ED.
Hey, are you 2 dating?
B is signaling to G to say no because he doesn't want many people to know he's dating. G. No, we are not. B then goes to get the food. ED.
I think you would really like my son. He's about your age and goes to college.
G. ED then goes on about pimping his son out to this person here, despite G giving obvious signals that this conversation is making her uncomfortable. G snaps, will you stop it? I don't want to date your son. ED, in shock. G then proceeds to make it clear to ED that this is making her uncomfortable and that she is not interested in dating his son. ED scoffs.
Oh, you women are the same. I was trying to do you a favor.
Wow, crossover between entitled parents and nice guys. Anyways, ED then walks off whilst B checks on G and then they eat the food. Yeah, I'm gonna give this more of a 45 out of 50. At least this person here, walked off and didn't, call the police or anything like that, or didn't put someone's life in danger, but still, dude, your son is not gonna die without a girlfriend. And that is not an excuse for you to go all nice guy. This next post here says, EM gets mad after I slapped her son for looking up my skirt. And this person here says, I don't know if this is the right subreddit, but this is the best place I can personally think of where to post it. So I, a 16-year-old female, was walking at the park near my house, and since it was finally starting to warm up, I decided to wear a skirt for the first time since October. So I passed the playground, and I was walking away when I hear someone running up behind me. I was walking, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw 2 hands grabbing the sides of my skirt and lifting it up, completely exposing my underwear. As soon as this happened, I turned around and without hesitation backhanded the person holding my skirt. Then I realized it was some kid who looked to be about 10 or 11. He looked pretty shocked that I slapped him, and before I could ask him, what the heck is wrong with you? This kid's mom, who we'll call Karen, appropriate, comes running out of nowhere and slaps me across the face, and starts by yelling at me. The conversation went like this. Karen, how dare you? Me, ow, what the heck is wrong with you? Karen, how dare you touch my baby? Me, how about you teach your baby not to be a perv? Karen slaps me again. Don't you ever talk to me or my son like that. He was just being curious. Boys will be boys. More like boys will be future HR nightmare. Anyways, me. Ow, that's not being curious, it's essay. Karen. Maybe if you dressed like you weren't an S. I was wearing a skirt that was one hand above my knee and a t-shirt. You wouldn't get so curious. Me. Maybe if you taught your crotch goblin to respect women, he wouldn't be looking up skirts. Karen. Where are your parents? I doubt they would be letting you outside the house looking like this. Me. Yeah, I think that's what my parents would be really mad about. The way I'm dressed and not that your son lifted up my skirt. Karen got up with her son and left, saying, "Let's leave. We don't like to talk to horses like her." And so I flipped her off as we both walked away. I wish there was a more satisfying ending to this, but that's just how life goes, unfortunately. Yeah, this is getting a 50 out of 50. Ma'am, you need to teach your son not to do that, okay? That is not OP's job to be wearing something that won't arouse your son. You need to teach your son better, okay? I think with that, that's gonna do it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.